I'm a Kern with the Florida Gators.
Okay. I was just checking to see if you were listening.
From Cheyenne, Louisiana. Hold on a second.
Hey, guys! Hey! I'm having a press conference, okay? Thank you.
Momentum, excitement, energy. They say all this stuff, and you know what they mean, but it doesn't describe what you mean. It's just sort of out there.
You got barbecue back there, and you didn't invite me. Hurt my feelings.
I was just worried about, listening to, all your guys' rap poison.
Welcome to Sideline Judgment. Here are your hosts, Sergio and Tyler.
Welcome to Sideline Judgment. My name is Sergio.
My name is Tyler.
Hey, Tyler, we are diving deep into the end of the writer's strike.
Oh, my gosh. You hit me with a pump fake on that one. I was
really
thinking end. It's week 3 and 4.
I know. We're not diving into it, but I do want to say welcome back to the working Hollywood industry, Tyler.
It feels good.
I'm glad.
I will. It's so funny. I took the lady to go see the hometown, go see Duval this week, and we were watching a movie with my family. The entire family was there, and the new dog. And we paused at one point for something, and I checked my phone, and my phone had been blowing up, and I could feel the vibration on the couch, but I hadn't looked at it. And then I got the message the writer's strike, they've reached a deal, and it was so cool to get to celebrate with my entire family. Which is funny because when the writer's strike started, I was with Hannah's family in Hawaii, and it's so funny. It happened at both times, but the end and the beginning happened when we were with each other's families.
Yes, doing the domesticated part of the domestic partnership.
Yeah,
it's a great story.
Great.
That's a great story, Tyler. But I'm not gonna lie to you. I was taken aback. There's a new dog in the Williams house.
Yes, my parents just got a new puppy a couple weeks ago. It's part of the reason I went back home to meet this puppy.
Yes.
He's an Australian Shepherd. He's the perfect dog for them because he's very energetic. He doesn't bark very much because they love energetic dogs, so they can go play with. But they hate dogs that bark a lot, so they really lucked out. The Australian Shepherd, his name is Han Maverick Williams.
Incredible.
He is the cutest thing ever. I will send you pictures when we are done.
Yes, please.
He likes to climb on people, and he gets the zoomies, and it's great.
Australian Shepherd puppies are super zoomy.
I think I'm slowly turning my lady into a dog person because she was not a dog person, but she literally said, she's like, this is the cutest animal I've ever seen in my life.
Beautiful.
I think I'm becoming a dog person.
The trip to Jacksonville then was a success.
Rousing success.
If you remove the professional football team from the city of Jacksonville out of the equation,
I didn't go to the game.
Well, Tyler, we will briefly talk about that at the end. This is what I am calling a quick but concise episode of Sideline Judgment. We know that this is Thursday. We're recording this Thursday morning. We're getting this up right away. Tyler and I both have had some stuff to do. As you can hear, Tyler was home visiting family. The writer's strike is over. He's back to work, all of these things. And so for those reasons, we're a bit delayed. We apologize for last week's split episode. I hope you at least enjoyed it and were able to listen to our individual takes. Tyler, I did a 5 to 7 minute thing on Colorado, which we'll get to when we get to our 5 wide and 2 point recap. But I want to go ahead and start with our Around the Nation segments. Let's go conference by conference. I didn't put every game, obviously, because this is a concise episode. But I did put, I think, what the most important games of the week were. We'll start Friday night. We'll start in the ACC, I should say, with the first one being Friday night, NC State 24, Virginia 21. The ending to this game was insane. I don't know if you watched it. I did
not get to, but I've kept up with the discourse.
Basically what happens, the Virginia quarterback gets hit on a 2-point conversion to get to the 21 points, but his helmet is kind of coming off as he hits the ground, and it comes off naturally, I would say. But then the Virginia quarterback gets up and starts flexing, and so he gets hit with a 15-yard unsportsmanlike penalty, which then pushes back the kickoff 15 yards, which then has NC State able to take it up quicker. And then they go and they kick a field goal, which gets blocked, by the way. But, there's a flag on the play because I knew this rule, Tyler. I know you knew this rule, but listeners, there's a rule where on a field goal, you can't just jump over the center and like block the kick. It's called leaping. It's like not safe for the center if anything happens. So that's a penalty. And then on the second attempt, NC State kicker kicks it random, kicks it right through the uprights. Brendan Armstrong revenge game in full effect. It happens. Virginia, they get a pass this year, obviously, but not
they
a
get a
great
pass.
Exactly. We'll move forward to what I think was one of the best games of the weekend. Florida State 31, Clemson 24 in overtime. Tyler, I think my biggest takeaway from this game, I have two takeaways from this game. Number one, FSU's legit good, like capital G good, one of the best teams in the country good this season. And number two, Clemsoning is back in full force.
Oh, yeah. Oh, this was a vintage Clemsoning.
Did you see the end of regulation?
I did.
Dabo Swinney basically, not using a timeout that he had and burning clock unnecessarily. And I don't know. It was just a bad clock game management situation. It looked like the Chargers out there. It was really weird.
Yeah, so FSU, I don't know. FSU is one of those things where FSU is legit good. I will say they've shown the last couple of weeks a real chink in the armor they can be got. And a good team gets out of these situations, which they did. Mm-hmm. I don't really hold it against them in any way that Clemson took them to overtime. And Clemson actually looked like they were in control for most of this game. Clemson's extremely talented. I think Cade Klubnik is talented. I think this is the start of my campaign. Let Garrett Riley run the offense the way he wants to, because you know how all the stuff I built up for Clemson was immediately thrown out the window when Dabo said, "Oh, he brought Garrett Riley to run the Clemson offense." Mm-hmm. I was just like, "What the heck was the point of bringing him then?"
Yep, I agree.
And Cade Klubnik has a tendency to tunnel vision a little bit. That's what the big part of the fumble touchdown came from, the fact that Yes, the center blew a protection. But Cade Klubnik, this guy's wide open coming to him, and he does not see it at all because he is focused on the receiver.
Yes. I think that's inexperience as well. That's youth.
Yeah,
he is a true sophomore, starting. And he's a true sophomore. He's 19, 20 years old. He'll learn.
And it's interesting. Clemson is still very talented, very good. I think they'll still have a really good season by normal college football standards. Probably by theirs, it won't be very good. But
they're already essentially out of the ACC title because they don't have tiebreakers over FSU or Duke,
and both of them are in their division.
And the way that Miami is playing, who by the way beat Temple 41-7 and are undefeated, and Tyler Van Dyke is looking like the Tyler Van Dyke we know. There's a lot of talk down here, not just about the Dolphins, which I'll get to at the end of the episode. But there's a lot of conversation about what a September for Miami's football teams. The Hurricanes have been playing really well, along with the Dolphins, and so. Clemson might be the fourth best team in the conference, and that is an insane statement to make, but also
they're not. I'm saying they're not bad. I want to be very clear. Clemson's not bad. Now they're back to Clemsoning, which is hilarious. And
it's fait accompli. It's incredible.
But FSU is very talented, very good.
How about Keon Coleman?
I mean, Keon Coleman's a star.
Arguably the best receiver in the country, sans Marvin Harrison Jr. I don't want to say best draft prospect because Marvin Harrison Jr. hands down. But
that's the thing is there's a difference between being the best player in the country and the best. Devontae Smith was not the best draft prospect, even though he won a Heisman and was the best player in the field. He ended up working out, but
exactly. So interesting things happening in Death Valley. Very curious to see how that season goes out for them and FSU. Hey man, FSU Miami is going to be a banger game, and I hope they tie 45-45 because I want bangers, but I also don't want them to win.
I also can't wait for FSU Duke.
Yeah, that's also going to be
a statement.
Yes. Speaking of Duke, they beat UConn 41-7. Another just stamp of approval. They just keep playing good football. And then the last ACC game I got here is North Carolina 41, Pitt 24. I put this game here specifically because Drake May's oh, you guys don't think that I'm performing as how I should? Okay, bet. Hold my beer. That's what Drake May did this week. And he looked really good doing so. Let's move on to the Big 12, where 3 of the 4 Big 12 brand new Big 12 teams were in Big 12 action. Houston did win.
I thought Houston got beat by TCU. Or was that last week?
I thought that was last week. See, this is what happens when we don't record we do a split episode, listeners. We typically like associate it with different things. No, Houston beat Sam Houston State this week. Yeah, I was right. That was TCU game.
You're super right.
Yes.
I never doubted you.
They won 38-7. So they did win a game this week. But because TCU beat Houston last week, Tyler, all 4 of the brand new Big 12 conference members have lost their opening Big 12 game. Cincinnati lost to Oklahoma 20-6. Kansas State beat UCF 44-31. And BYU lost to Kansas 38-27. And that was, I believe, in Lawrence. So all 4 of those teams have lost quickly on those games specifically. The Oklahoma game, Dylan, I had this conversation with my brother. Dylan Gabriel, we both think is a really good college quarterback, and we think he's great. The issue with Dylan Gabriel is that he is too strong for the throws he needs to make. The issue with Oklahoma is not Jeff Lebby's offense, even though after the Art Briles situation on the sidelines, people may be very quick to get rid of that coordinator. But I want you to know that the on-field issues are not Jeff Lebby's fault. It's Dylan Gabriel will do this thing where he puts it in the right place. It's just either a little bit higher. He like knows where it's going. Psychologically, he's making the right decisions. He's got a great quarterback brain, but his arm is too strong. In the first quarter, there was a throw that was all the way down a deep bomb that he had a wide receiver wide open and he overthrew him by 5 yards. There was a couple plays in the red zone where they were running quick slants and the ball was just kind of thrown a little bit too high. A fade is thrown 3 yards a little too much. That's the issue with Dylan Gabriel. Not that he's bad, but just he's got to refine that. And that's the difference between a good college quarterback and an NFL prospect.
And that's the thing. The stronger the arm you have, the more accurate you have to be.
Yes. Correct. Correct.
So he's got to learn that. I also think a problem with Dylan Gabriel is, and this is going to sound weird because it's Oklahoma, is that he plays a little bit too much like Baker Mayfield in the pros. Now, what I mean by that,
great.
So Baker Mayfield in the pros throws his own body around and meets tacklers and things like that. And I'm like this ain't. He should have. He did that in college and it worked out because he was a great college quarterback athlete. But in the pros, and I'm like, you can't withstand these hits. Like. No, we don't. We're asking Anthony Richardson and Cam Newton and Lamar Jackson to not take these hits, and they can withstand them.
Right,
and
they're the physical freaks.
A big part of I think Baker's issues and the reason he got out of the Browns was because he got injured, playing a little bit like that recklessly with his body, and he got injured on his throwing shoulder, and that affected the rest of his season. Dylan Gabriel kind of throws his own body around a little bit too much for my liking, and like I understand for design runs and things like that. But I'm like, hey, you need to preserve yourself for this. So I'm interested to see how that goes. Credit to Oklahoma's defense.
I think Oklahoma's defense this year is capital G good. Like, credit. Brett Venables is doing an incredible job. Yeah. So the turnaround, crazy what you can do defensively at Oklahoma, Alex Grinch. And then on the Cincinnati side, well, Emory Jones is their quarterback, and I'll continue forward. Kansas State beating UCF, to me, I watched this entire game. I watched this with UCF fans. I was wearing my UCF polo because it was their first. Here's the thing. I was wearing my UCF polo.
It's the big boy premiere.
It was the big boy, Big 12 premiere.
It's that song from Prince of Egypt where you're playing with the big boys now. That big boys is Kansas State.
Yes. Hey, defending Big 12 champions.
I know. I'm not saying that ironically.
The issue with this game, this is a game that at the end of it, we all looked at each other and went, UCF lost this game. Kansas State didn't win this game. This to me confirmed that UCF is the best of the 4 teams that have come from the American/independents to the Big 12. Because if they had John Rice Plumlee in there, they would have won this football game because Timmy's his name I'm forgetting. Dude, Timmy would do the thing in Madden where you would drop back and he would go backwards and backwards and backwards. And then he would take a sack unnecessarily, or he would not throw the ball away and he would try to scramble and lose 6 yards. It was like, what are you doing? Like, throw the football away. He's young. He'll learn. But the consensus among UCF fans, the ones I watched with in person and on Twitter, is that, yeah, the quarterback for the 2024 season is not on the roster. So they're going to have to go portal or develop someone and bring them in young or whatever it may be. So, and then the Kansas BYU game. Kansas is just a really good football team. That to me is what it was. BYU's not as good as what they were in the past.
BYU, I would say BYU has been fine. Like
exactly.
They're not bad, but yeah, Kansas is a really good football team.
Yes, I agree. And then rounding out the Big 12, West Virginia 20, Texas Tech 13. I put this here because that's 2 wins in a row for Neil Brown, and one of those wins was Backyard Brawl, and he was able to beat a Texas Tech team that a lot of people were very high on going into the season and played Oregon really competitively a couple of weeks ago, and we've seen how good Oregon is. So good sign for him. Think he may have saved his job with this 2-week stretch here. So in the Big 10, Wisconsin 38, Purdue 17. That was
skipped one. You skipped one.
Oh, did I? My apologies, Tyler.
How dare you?
I skipped an important one as well. Iowa State 34, Oklahoma State 27. Congratulations to you, Tyler. But also, what is going on in Stillwater?
Yeah. I mean, Iowa State is not the story here. I want to say, like, as much as great win for them, they needed it. Matt Campbell needed it. That's not the story here. Did you hear something too that like many Oklahoma State players were planning on quitting the team?
Oh yeah, there was a rumor that going into this week that basically like the majority of the Oklahoma State team is just ready to quit. The message boards will tell you it's all NIL related. Mike Gundy will tell you that it's these kids don't want to put in the work and hard effort in because he's already like laid the breadcrumbs over the past few weeks of like, hey man, like don't, some guys, they just don't want to compete. And if you don't want to play hard, then we don't want you at Oklahoma State kind of situation where he's doing the throw the players under the bus thing a little bit early. Very interesting to see what happens throughout the rest of the season and this offseason in Stillwater, because in my opinion, it just may be, listen, Mike Gundy has done a lot for Oklahoma State. It's just everything comes to an end. It just
and that's that to me is kind of a theme of this college football season is that all things come to an end.
Mm-hmm. Could be. We don't know yet. Don't know yet. We'll have to see. 2 games in the Big Ten.
It is for the Pac-12, but
you ain't got to do that. In the Big Ten, Wisconsin 38, Purdue 17. That was a Friday night game. I put this game here just because Purdue, like, listen,
they got Fetty Whopped.
They got Fetty Whopped. Yes, not in the good way. They were on the bad end. Of the
opposite.
But just stupid mistakes, man. Like it's all self-inflicted stuff. And Wisconsin played good football, and they look like they're doing well and stuff. But man, Purdue is, I don't know. We'll see. Penn State 31, Iowa 0. The race for, I think it's 280 points. I don't know what something or where Kirk Ferentz's son, the offensive coordinator, he has to average, I think it's 24 points a game to keep his job next year. There's like a clause in his contract where that has to happen. And I don't know if it's going to happen.
Step back. Took a massive step back.
Insane. So
I will posit. I don't think people are seriously considering Penn State as a college football playoff contender, and I am. Like, they look good, in my opinion.
We can expand on that real quick. I want to let me make my point, and I'll give you the floor, because I agree. I think Penn State is a contender, but I am putting Penn State in the same category as Michigan. I just need to see them play somebody. Like,
that's true.
They look really good against the competition they have in front of you, and that's all you can ask of a team. But in terms of playoff contenders, I just need to see them against Michigan or Ohio State, like, because those are the games that matter in the Big Ten. That's what in the Big Ten East, the way it's currently constructed and stuff. It's the way it is.
That's
so
fair.
I need to see that happen until I can give the stamp of, all right, let's have the full-fledged conversation, because I don't want to have the conversation if they go out there and they get boat raced by Michigan or by Ohio State, because then it's mute,
Good point.
So that's my opinion. What about you?
Well, my opinion is that Drew Aller is the thing. Drew Aller has looked really good as a quarterback in ways that Sean Clifford didn't, and so it's a thing. There is the competition aspect of it. And I don't really like 31's a good number to drop in Iowa. They've got a really good defense, and 0, great number always great to pitch a shutout. Even if the offense is anemic like Iowa, but like in today's college football, you can luck into 3 points. But my thing is that I just don't think people are talking about them. Like we know they have one of the best rosters in the country. That's a fact. Drew Aller is playing better at quarterback than I've seen Sean Clifford play. I'm not going to say Trace McSorley because that's a way too much, and we haven't seen him play anybody. But you bring up a good point. They haven't really played, much like Michigan. They haven't really played any serious competition.
Yeah.
I just think everybody gets lost in as usual. Everybody gets lost in the Ohio State Michigan of it all, and I'm like, Penn State looks really good this year. So we'll see.
We'll see. I'm excited for those games. I think Penn State plays them in like 2-3 weeks. Ohio State. So we'll see how that goes. Mountain West, I just put Boise 34, San Diego State 31. That's also a Friday night game. Boise's looking back to Boise. I'm just surprised San Diego State put up 31 points, considering the fact that, they have a not very electric offense is the best way to put it, I think. So maybe some worrying signs for Boise. It's nice that they're getting their wins, or they're getting finally a win, but like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Question marks there in Boise. In the Pac-12, USC 42, Arizona State 28. This is one of those, like, I'm more impressed that Arizona State. The score
Arizona
of this
State
game
hung in this game for a while.
Right. The score isn't indicative as to how close this game was for how long it was close. So credit to Arizona State. And also, Lincoln, what does Alex Grinch have on you? Seriously. What does that man know? What did you do that Alex Grinch was a witness for, and now you just can't get rid of him? What happened? I just want to know. So, anyway.
Yeah.
And then the best offense in college football, Washington 59, Cal 32. This is the Miami Dolphins of college football in terms of they have a pretty decent defense, but also it doesn't matter because they're just going to outscore you. So, yeah.
Michael Penix Jr. is currently my front runner for the Heisman.
I think he's Vegas's front runner for the Heisman.
Oh, really?
Let me double check real quick.
Yeah, you double check that because I'm getting a little like on all the Caleb Williams love. Just I'm sitting like this really is screaming of like overhype, and I think Caleb Williams is an amazing player. But it's that thing where like he was an amazing player. We do this all the time. He is the amazing sophomore quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody loves the amazing college sophomore quarterback, because you only see the positive sides of it.
Yeah.
And now he's got to be put under a draft lens, and there's all this hype leading up to it. Mm-hmm. And I'm starting to be like, yes, he's insanely talented, but like the Pac-12 is all chock full of amazing quarterbacks. And to me, Michael Penix Jr. is playing better than all of them. And they're all playing well. Like Caleb Williams is playing well. But
the Pac-12 has 3 of the top 5 Heisman quarterback odds. At number 5, you have Jordan Travis of FSU at plus 1,300. 4, we have Bo Nix of Oregon, plus 1,200. Insane.
He deserves it. Wild.
We're officially retiring Bad Bo Nix.
We have to.
Number 3 is Quinn Ewers at plus 600, the Texas quarterback. And then tied for first is Michael Penix Jr. and Caleb Williams at plus 350. Yeah. But I think it's important to note that Michael Penix last week was second at plus 550, and he jumped up to tied for first at plus 350, while Caleb Williams stayed the same at plus 350. So it's trending in the Michael Penix direction. If you have a preseason Michael Penix Jr. plus, like, I think it was 1,400, 1,500 ticket for Heisman, you're looking really smart right now.
Yeah.
So great conference with great quarterbacks. Moving on to the conference we call home as fans, Tyler, the SEC. LSU 34, Arkansas 31. LSU kicks a game-winning field goal to win. Arkansas is one of those teams, man, where they are just in close games, and it just seems like they're not pulling it out. This happened. Well, they did pull it out against BYU, but it happened as well earlier in the season.
No, they didn't pull it out against BYU.
They didn't pull it out against BYU?
Lost to
That's
BYU.
what it was. There we go. And it was at home, too, which was disappointing for them. But yeah, man, this was a back-and-forth game.
KJ Jefferson is still a talented playmaker. Yeah, that's just the team that they are. They're frisky.
Yes. Yes.
But yeah, LSU is like, I'm entertaining a take that I'll say. I guess I'll just say it now.
You're developing a take?
I'm developing an opinion that I'm not sure that the SEC has an elite team. Like
including the 2-time defending national champion Georgia Bulldogs?
Look, that's the only one I could see getting to that level is the thing, because Georgia is insanely talented, but they have not looked good, in my opinion. Like,
so can they get to that level?
Okay,
Or
the
is
SEC
their
has
schedule?
multiple. I want to be very clear. The SEC has multiple elite rosters. That's not
Oh
my
yeah,
point.
yeah, for sure.
But the point is that like in this current situation, like Georgia's the closest thing to it, but I don't even know if I would call it that. I don't know if the conference has an elite team, an elite like collection of individuals like heading towards a common goal. Like LSU's looked good at times. They were in a tough one in this case. I'm not really faulting them for that, but we've seen it with Alabama. Everybody's ready to bury that. I'm not really ready to bury that. Georgia's the big one, but Georgia has looked like they're still trying to figure this out.
Yeah.
So if Carson Beck is able to figure it out, they'll be the elite team. But that's also like I had a thought in the shower of like, oh, could the SEC like miss the playoff this year? And I was like, no, Tyler, you wildin'.
No, I don't think that
they would let that happen.
Because even that's the thing where the Georgia situation. The reason I brought up Georgia was because there's a great question that we can on a different episode try to flush out, and that is the preseason perception. Like Georgia, as long as they keep winning, are going to stay number one in the AP poll. I don't know if that'll be the case in the playoff poll because the playoff poll really does a better job of taking into account. I like that they start the playoff poll like 6 weeks in the season because that way you can kind of see how teams are playing. But like, will if Georgia wins out in a objectively weak schedule and they look kind of mediocre and up in the air doing so,
it won't matter. Like,
but will they still be considered an elite team just because they win undefeated in the SEC, even though their SEC schedule was pretty soft? You know, because they're not playing they're not playing LSU, they're not playing Alabama, they're not, you know what I mean? The teams that we're considering to be elite rosters.
This is just a down year for the SEC, which is so funny because it's like it's the best year the Pac-12 has ever had. Like,
they're going out with a bang.
Yeah. And it's like, this is a really down year for the SEC. And that's my point is that like Georgia could go undefeated, get to the college football playoff. I don't know if they'll be an elite team. Like this is not, and that doesn't like change any of those teams' ability to win the conference. There's usually a dominant team in this conference or several. And I'm not seeing it this year. Well,
and similar to the Penn State conversation that we just had, I think that has to do with the perception of the conference and and also the respect of coming off of 2 back-to-back national championships is that you're saying, why don't we talk about Penn State? They're looking really good in the way that they're playing against weak competition, just like Georgia, but Georgia's playing weak competition and it looks like they're struggling. So
yeah, there's no doubt in my mind. Like when they're playing UAB, there's no doubt in my mind that they were going to win that game.
Right.
But
it shouldn't be that close of a game against a team coached by Trent Dilfer. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And this thing is that that was the thing that Stetson Bennett brought that was so interesting was like not talent, but an ease. Like he just what?
That is the thing that's one of the things that Stetson Bennett brought. Not talent, but just, what? Just Stetson Bennett.
I did dig. That was a pretty bad dig. That was pretty bad. What he brought is not like, oh, he's a very talented quarterback. He's like, no, it's just an ease of the offense. He understood. Like there was just an ease when they were on, and I don't know how else to describe it. And I'm not seeing that with Carson Beck. And
there's a benefit.
His first year starting, so I'm not holding that against him because he could very much. Stetson Bennett was already like 4 or 5 years into college football when he started, but like I'm not holding it against him. But it is a situation where, we just have to see is the thing. Yeah. A lot of teams in the SEC are starting new quarterbacks this year, almost like most of them. Yeah. And so,
there's a benefit to being in a system for a while, or I don't want to say a system because they changed coordinators. Georgia did, but being in a culture, being within the same environment for a while, and then being able to produce when your name is called upon. We're seeing that at a different level in the NFL with Jordan Love right now in the Packers. So there's great examples about that. And even the Drew Pine thing at Penn State, like this is his 3rd year at Penn State, his 1st year starting, and he's a redshirt sophomore. So like, you know what I mean? It's interesting. Real quick, the last 3 SEC games I thought were important here. Tennessee 41, UTSA 14. Bounce back for Tennessee. They needed to kind of just put up points and beat up upon a lesser opponent. I thought it would be a closer game because I thought that UTSA would be able to run the football a little bit better and have a better perception and all of those things, but turns out wasn't the case. Texas A&M 27, Auburn 10. The biggest story here, in my opinion, is Connor Wegman suffered a lower body injury in the second quarter of this game, and reports coming out of College Station are saying that he will be out for the season. So not looking good for Jimbo in terms of, hey, we're going to get that consistency and keep it going. It is once again quarterback carousel, and Tyler with a head coach, and, debate on who's calling the plays at College Station all you want. But what we can't deny is that Jimbo Fisher likes for his quarterbacks to have very much complete control of the offense, and he expects a lot from them. And once again, throwing someone in the middle of the season, not the best recipe for success. We'll see if things go differently because of their new coordinator. With oh my God, who's their coordinator? I'm blanking. This is what happens.
Bobby Petrino
together. Bobby Petrino. I can't believe oh my God, I've removed Petrino's entire existence from my brain.
Yeah, and then Texas A&M brings him back into college football.
Well, they also brought back DJ Durkin. So, and the last SEC game here, Kentucky 45, Vanderbilt 28. I put this here because Tyler, when you are ordering, you know what? You'll have a very recent example of this. When you're ordering a pub sub and you're watching that thing get made, and you're like, oh yes, toss that chicken and ranch. Yes, give me those onions. Yes, I would love spinach. That's just my pub sub. But you're watching it get constructed. The multi-grain bread is looking good. Oh, incredible. The extra little ranch on top. And you're licking your lips like you can't wait to eat. That's how I see this Kentucky team. We'll talk about them later on.
Oh,
5 wide recap. Oregon 32, Colorado 6.
42, by the way. It's Oregon 42.
42? Wow, look at that. I decided to
give him a little more credit than there.
Yeah, big yikes. Dan Lanning said, okay, that's cool. Y'all want to go play some big boy football? And he did it.
Yeah, well, this is one of those things I say there's always that use of the tournament of college football because every game is only played once and all these things where it's just you play this team not this many times out of 10, they win this many times, but they didn't win that time today. And I'm yes, I mostly agree with that, but there's one of the situations. This is one of the situations. Colorado could play this game 100 times out of 100, and I think Oregon wins all 100 of them. I agree. Again, it's like I was talking about last week. It's not a referendum on Colorado as a team in regards to how good they are. It's that Oregon's biggest strength, their defense and defensive line, was pitted against Colorado's biggest weakness, which is their offensive line. It was and there's just you saw it in the game. Shedeur Sanders had no time to do anything, and Travis Hunter's not solving that problem.
He's not even on the field. Right, exactly. Yeah. Even if he was on the
field,
even
if he was, it wouldn't have mattered. Maybe they don't get. Maybe they didn't score a touchdown in the third quarter as opposed to the fourth.
Maybe they get to double digits.
That's the thing. It's there's just no way. In my opinion, obviously there is a way, but there's just you can't build trench players through the portal.
Correct.
You can supplement, sure, but you have to build that side of your team from recruiting. You can get skill players of all types in the portal. And that's a big part of what is keeping college football. There's more parity this year. All these quarterbacks can go to different places. Wide receivers can transfer. And I love it. I really do. But this is a case of this is probably going to be the worst that Colorado is going to be for a long time. Under Deion.
I agree.
Recruits are calling them because they want to go there.
It'll improve. It'll get better. And this isn't, I did a whole 7-10 minutes last week on Colorado about how I think this is one of the best stories in college football. And I think that
it's great for the sport.
I completely agree.
Dan Lanning even agreed.
Of course.
He was just hey, I do what I can to motivate my team, but I'd be very clear. I love what Deion Sanders is doing to college football.
This game at a 3:30 kickoff on ABC, 3:30 Eastern on ABC, 12:30 on Pacific time kickoff, got over 10 million viewers on linear television. That's incredible. Yes, and Dan Lanning even said it in the press conference, I think on Monday. He was and yeah, I know that those numbers are because people wanted to watch Colorado, and that's okay. But he's in the locker room with my team, we don't care. We're here to win a Pac-12 championship, and then we're here to compete and win a national championship and give Bo Nix the Heisman on the way there. That's what they want to do. And so for those reasons, they don't care that Deion Sanders on the other side. Deion will say otherwise because he blatantly went out and said, like, yeah, teams are playing me. Like, the teams are going out there to beat me, not my team to beat me. And it's like, yeah, well, your team is an extension of who you are, Deion. Like, you can't tell us, you can't be the whole, like, I'm bringing the prime machine to Colorado and then kind of be like, well, teams just want to beat me and they kind of want to get their shine. It's like, yeah, dude, that's how it works, you know? I think to me, the biggest thing with this game, Tyler, I agree with you, is the line play, all those trenches. Do you remember the year that Miami won the ACC Coastal in that 7-year stretch of the Coastal to suck where a different team won the Coastal every year? It was like, who's going to lose to FSU or Clemson? And that was kind of like the offering. Well, there was one year, the year Miami won it, I think it was Trevor Lawrence's first year as a full starter.
Yes.
First play of the game, the Miami offense takes the snap. I think it was Christian Wilkins, current Miami Dolphin. I think it really was. Blows up the Miami line, gets a sack. And I turned to Raul, my stepdad, and went, oh, this game's over. I was like, if that's going to happen on the first play of the game, it's over. I had a similar feeling when I watched Colorado and Oregon because just visual eye test, like, you know nothing about football, right? You take an alien, you transport them here and say, watch this. Who do you think is going to win this game? And you just show them one play, not even a play, just show them the pictures of the lines at the line of scrimmage set and ready to go. And like, Oregon's players have a 4-inch, 5-inch, 50 to 60 pound muscle advantage over the Colorado players. They're never going to win football games that way. That's why these old school coaches are always saying, build from the inside out. You build a roster from the inside out. That's why I am such a proponent and believer in giving Billy Napier this patience, because his mentality is build from the inside out. And you're seeing it with the Florida defensive line this year. You're seeing it with an improved offensive line this year. And it helps when you got a stud running back like Trevor Etienne, who I want you to play more, Billy Napier. But we'll talk about that in a bit. So that was my kind of takeaway from that Colorado.
Yeah, and Oregon looks great. Colorado can still have an amazing season, in my opinion. They already have. And they're going.
They're halfway to their win total that I thought. I said 6 wins give prime coach of the year, and they're halfway there in the month of September.
Yeah, and I it doesn't make me feel any sort of different way about Colorado. It's just a vindication for the way I already felt, which is that this is a fun team. They're electric. I actually think they have more of a chance against USC, even though USC, it does have a better quarterback. Like, I think they have more of a chance against USC because defense. But it's like, in this game, you just don't match up well. And honestly, that's in college football. A lot of times, that's what makes the difference. Do you match up well? And this is just football in general. It's funny. I was on the plane with my girlfriend watching this game, and I explained to her like the whole thing about it. And she's like, oh, because she used to play basketball. She's like, yeah, there was this team that we always played in middle school that they just always had the biggest girls like that you could find. And we just knew we just couldn't beat them like at their game. And I was like, yeah, that's the situation. Like you can't out physical a center that's like a foot taller than you.
There's a certain point where you can be as skilled as you can. What makes Messi the greatest player in soccer history, in my opinion, is not just the things that he does, but the things that he does at the size that he is. He's like 5'5". My sister's taller than Messi. My 13-year-old sister is taller than the greatest soccer player of all time. Like, that's what makes him so great. But he is a one of one. Everyone else, regardless of sport, it's like that at a certain point, size is going to happen. There's a reason you don't put the heavyweights in the UFC up against the lightweights at 155. They're going to kill them, no matter how good of a jiu-jitsu, no matter, you know what I mean? It's just a certain point, size is going to overpower them. And at a position like positions like offensive and defensive line, those things matter. So completely agree. I liked how you brought up that USC point. We're going to talk about them in a second when we get to our 5 point and 2 points from this week, because I have a take on that. So we'll go there. Tyler and I both get the points. We both picked Oregon. And if you picked Oregon minus 21, congratulations. Utah 14, UCLA 7. Tyler and I both get the points on this one. I think my biggest takeaway from this, now that we have a big enough sample size of UCLA, it's so weird to watch a Chip Kelly run football team not be like the Marcus Mariota Oregon style anymore, because they're running like old school running packages, like I formation, heavy sets, 3 tight ends, hand the ball off, control the time of possession, which to me is just indicative of how much Chip Kelly has checked his ego at the door. because he's like, I innovated that style a decade ago. Now I'm going to kind of go back to something different because it's not working at the place that I'm at. And to me, even though they lost this game, I tip my hat to him because respect. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Respect.
Big respect.
Alrighty. But got anything to say about the game or?
Utah's defense is really good.
Very good.
Utah's offense is but
they're also missing their starting quarterback.
That was the thing. They're missing their starting quarterback, so I'm not going to fault them too much about it.
Well, the fact that they're 4-0, missing their starting quarterback,
this is great for them.
Great for them. Absolutely.
Yeah.
We both get the points on that one. Alabama 24, Ole Miss 10. Tyler gets the points on this one because I bought into Lane Kiffin's rat poison. I bought into the rat poison. I did. I bought into it.
Y'all, this is what Ole Miss is. Like, this has nothing to do with Alabama. This is what Ole Miss is.
Oh, hold on. I'll one up you. Is this what Ole Miss is, or is this what Lane Kiffin is?
Yeah, it's probably a better way to put it. I'll say it. This is what Lane Kiffin is. Lane Kiffin talks a lot of smack, and we love him for it. And he's an innovator on offense in a lot of ways. He's very creative. I like his team. He's had the same Ole Miss team for about 4 years. And
he will tell you that is an NIL issue, and he can't get the guys in there. I
don't buy that.
I don't know if that's. Yeah, I was gonna say I don't know if I buy that completely.
But this is Ole Miss continues to have moments. We do this every year with them, where it's just like, all right, they're coming to face Alabama. Ole Miss has a history of beating Alabama from the Hugh Freeze days, and like with high scoring offense, Lane's specialty, all these things. This is the moment, and it was setting up just perfectly this moment. But you know what happens when you set a moment up for Lane Kiffin perfectly? He doesn't take advantage of it. He never has. And like Lane Kiffin is a really good football coach, and Ole Miss has been really consistent, which is honestly a great thing for them. How consistent they have been. They have an identity.
Lane has definitely elevated them. Like the floor is higher because Lane Kiffin is there.
Yes.
And at a school like Ole Miss, which has been constantly the secondary tier program in the SEC and always wanting to be that in that top tier and stuff and flirting with it sometimes. This is something that I think Ole Miss fans should be very happy with. Not the loss to Alabama, obviously, but I mean the state of the program and how Lane is elevated it to a point. Yeah.
Well, and this is the thing. It's Alabama didn't even really look good in this game. I think Jalen Milroe is the correct option at quarterback. I don't think they have a better one on the roster.
By default, he's the best guy.
Yeah. I mean, I did see someone said it was funny. This was funny, and I honestly agree with it. That it's like Nick Saban is a genius because he put out those other two quarterbacks against USF, a team he thought he could still beat, and proved to everyone. It's just like, yeah, I made the right decision by going with Jalen Milroe. But Alabama didn't even really look good, but Ole Miss just failed to rise to the occasion, and they have continued to do that. Under specifically in the Alabama related moment.
I agree with you in that take, Tyler, but I think that will take a minute here to have a quick conversation, because last week I said that I would love to have a conversation with you when we were back together about the Nick Saban of it all. And this, he's a 72-year-old man, and 72, maybe 73. I don't know how old in his 70s, has he lost it, whatever. And I think the fact that we're having a conversation about how Ole Miss didn't rise to the occasion and not Alabama dominated, I think that question is still in the air. Yeah. I am going to once again, I think this might be a running bit, but I want to push the Nick Saban conversation to another week, because I don't know when we're going to be able to have that.
Look, I don't want to say stuff, and then he wins 6 games.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't want to,
it's still Nick Saban, like.
Listen, they got Mississippi State this weekend. Then they have 2 back-to-back road games. Mississippi State this weekend, Texas A&M the following weekend. Then they have homecoming against Arkansas at home, and then they have Tennessee at home, and then they're off before LSU. I truly think, Tyler, we should wait to have the Nick Saban conversation until after the LSU game, and honestly, maybe after the Kentucky game on the road the following weekend, because in my opinion, I think there's going to be a lot of overreaction either way from the LSU side or the Alabama side, depending on who wins. And that truly is, I think, 2 of the elite talented rosters, because we've established we don't think there's an elite SEC team this year so far. but the two elite talented rosters that can go either way. And I don't think is indicative of, oh, Brian Kelly's not doing well at LSU or, oh, Nick Saban's losing it kind of thing. So let's pencil this in for after the November 11th Kentucky game. I can't believe I just looked at the whole schedule and went,
we'll see how long.
Let's have the conversation towards the end.
We'll see how that works, but let's do it.
But yeah, that's going to be the running bit for the rest of the year. Tyler, let's push the Nick Saban combo to next week. How about that? Okay.
I liked it.
You did get the point on this one. I picked Ole Miss, so you got the point here. The Pac-2 championship game, Washington State 38, Oregon State 31. This game wasn't as close as the score indicates. Washington State was dominating. They were playing really good football. There's some good football being played up in Pullman. Neither of us get the points here because we picked our Beavers. It was nice to see the Beavers make a comeback at the end, but it was a little too late.
Yeah, and here's another thing. Cam Ward, add him to the list of Pac-12 quarterbacks that are going off.
Yeah.
I always kind of thought it was like Washington State's a good team. Cam Ward's is fun, but it's but I'm like, oh, he can make some throws. He's a playmaker, and
I am begging whoever is scheduling the time for Florida State to not coincide it with the Apple Cup because I need to watch the Apple Cup this year. That is going to be a game. I hope game day goes to the Apple Cup for rivalry week. Is it in Pullman or Seattle? Washington.
I think it's in Pullman.
Schedule. That would be so much fun too because it would be not the Washington. Oh my God. This NFL bias. Not the Jesus. Oh my God. And then it gave me the university schedule of Washington first. Jeez, this is why the Pac-12 gets all these jokes, guys.
So
I can't just type in.
It is going to be in Washington at the Husky
Seattle,
Stadium.
In Seattle.
Yeah, Seattle.
Man. Okay. All right. I was hoping it was in Pullman because it would be a nice poetic, end of the Big 12, Pac-12 era at one of the teams staying.
Well, I mean, last year's game was 51-33. Cam Ward threw for 322 yards, 2 touchdowns. So it was still a high scoring affair, and Washington State looks better this year.
Wasn't Penix banged up in that game? Didn't he get?
I think he threw for 4 touchdowns. So
no, but he got banged up.
Oh, he got. Yes, he did. He got banged up in that game.
Yeah. Anyway, so I don't want to say we're no longer a Beavers podcast, but I think we have to adopt the Cougars.
We are a Washington State Cougars podcast first now.
Beautiful.
Because they
won the game. They won the game.
They asserted dominance over the Beavers.
Because I know it's not common in college football to take the result on the field and then have that be,
have that matter at all.
But, here at Sideline Judgment, we're going to decide to do that, Tyler. So, and then the primetime game of the week, Ohio State 17, Notre Dame 14. Notre Dame broke out the all green unis. They do it very rarely. I think
they look like the Boston Celtics.
You make me want to vomit, but okay.
It wasn't a compliment to them.
No, it's just like Notre Dame looking like the Celtics. Like I dislike the Celtics. I dislike Notre Dame a lot, and you just combine the two, and now I just feel like I have to go take some Pepto-Bismol just from hearing that sentence. So, listen, this was a really good game. This was a defensive masterpiece from both teams. This was one of those. This was more NFL game than college game, in my opinion, in terms of the schemes, in terms of the roster. It was a good game. As much as I make fun of Notre Dame for not joining a conference, and believe me, that bit will never die. I mean, well, unless you join a conference, but seemingly it seems like the bit will never die. There is something beautiful about seeing that stadium at night filled up. That is a bucket list item. I would like to go. Notre Dame fans, feel free to heckle me the entire time I'm there. That's fine, but that's a college football bucket list item.
It is a great college football environment.
And I think a college football bucket list item would be to make sure you have all 11 players on your defense on the last game coming out of a timeout. It'd be nice if you did that, Marcus Freeman.
This is where I counter your proposal. That was just like, this game had a great ending. It's like, I'm not sure if it was a great game throughout. I mean, defensively, I didn't get to watch it as much as I wanted to. So maybe you're probably right.
We're just so used to the high-flying offenses and all these.
Yeah, and I think it's weird
Washington 38, Oregon State 31, Ohio State 17, Notre Dame 14.
We've lost our way as a people. We've forgotten what defensive football is about. Your Miami Dolphins are out here scoring 70.
And making defensive plays when it matters at the end of football games. Don't forget that. Shout out Van Ginkel. Shout out Vic Fangio.
So I get the point here because I picked Ohio State. I did not pick this game. Did not go the way I thought it would. But I don't, like we talked about, I don't really feel any worse about Notre Dame or Ohio State. Like, I don't really necessarily feel better about Ohio State. I don't feel worse for Notre Dame. These are just two good teams with good rosters. I'll say, like, I think Notre Dame has the better quarterback for sure. Kyle McCord is fine, but like,
whoa, time out. I agree. Notre Dame has a better quarterback in Sam Hartman. Kyle McCord put his big boy pants on, stepped up, and had the best moment of his career to date. Let's not discredit that drive at the end of the game. Fair. Did a really good job. Let it, poised, calm, collected, looking like Tua out there. Okay.
You have a narrative and you will be pushing it.
The narrative will be pushed. It absolutely will be pushed.
But good game. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. I developed the take that I'm like, wow, both the teams are really good. And I think Michigan beats them both.
Yeah, but that was my opinion too.
But again, Michigan is like, Michigan hasn't played anybody, so we don't really know. Yeah, I still feel I'm very interested to watch Notre Dame with Sam Hartman. I'm very interested to keep watching Ohio State because I always am.
I thought it was a good game. I enjoyed that defensive slugfest in that sense. Michigan does not play Notre Dame this season, but of course they do play Ohio State. This schedule is like, they got Nebraska this week, at Nebraska, at Minnesota, Indiana at home, at Michigan State, Purdue at home. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 straight wins. So they'll be 9-0 heading into
Penn State
on the road at Happy Valley. But it's a noon kickoff because it's the Fox Big Noon game. So we're not going to get a nighttime Happy Valley game. I'll be in New York City that weekend with Alexa and I are taking a New York trip to see some theater shows and stuff. And I purposely booked Friday night theater, Sunday matinee theater. So Saturday, I'm going to try to find a way to, hey, we should pop. There's like a cool sports bar called Rocco's that I've seen on Instagram that I kind of want to go to. I'm trying to find, priority is going to be Florida LSU that weekend. Obviously, if I have to pick a football game to watch that weekend on a trip to New York, it's going to be the Gator game. But, maybe if things aren't going so well and I can kind of watch the Gator game on my phone, maybe a Penn State, Michigan noon lunchtime game is one to watch. I don't know. Point being, Michigan doesn't play Notre Dame. They do play Ohio State. And I agree with you. I think Michigan would beat both of these teams. Can I ask you really quickly your thoughts, not only on the last play of the game and the having 10 men on the field for Notre Dame, but also the Ryan Day, hey, yo, Lou Holtz, where you at?
That was great. I'm sorry. That's just great.
I loved it. The Notre Dame fans in my life were very salty. And I was like, number one, Lou Holtz, not a good person. Number two, don't care what the 85-year-old dude said on Pat McAfee's
I really
show.
don't.
And number three, like, why are we surprised when football coaches, specifically college football coaches, come up with something to motivate their team on a big primetime game that is clearly the biggest test of the season to date? They will come up with anything to be like, oh, they don't believe in us. Oh, really? We don't believe in Ohio State, a top 5 ranked football team, a team that has been consistently considered a college football playoff contender for the past decade.
Hey, everybody doubts us. It's like when Georgia won the national championship. It's just like they picked us to go 7-5. I'm like, who? Me,
no one.
Me, us, your biggest haters did not think that was even in the realm of possibility.
No,
like that's a guaranteed 10-win roster.
Jeez. So like, I don't know. Just wanted to know your thoughts because those are mine.
Yeah, those are my thoughts.
There we go.
I think okay. Well, like on the Lou Holtz situation, I kind of liked that Ryan Day called him out, like because I don't think it matters. It really doesn't. And you know what, Ryan Day, stand up for your team. But also, like, so on the 10 men on the field situation, the crazy thing to me is that this has happened before in Notre Dame's season to date. And Marcus Freeman, you are a defensive head coach. How is this happening?
Yeah,
like
I don't get it.
I just coming out of a timeout, like you said, like there's no explanation other than this is a heavy word, but incompetency. Like I'm not saying that Marcus Freeman is an incompetent head coach.
No,
but this moment, this is incompetency. Like how can this happen? Like I know there's a lot of stuff going on, but like you're like that's not an excuse. You are paid. This is the stuff you're paid to keep track of. Like, and on top of that, I mean, like how many times do we let people have to trot out there and this doesn't happen? Like this is there's just no way to explain it other than incompetency in the moment. And I really hope that it doesn't. Like it's very possible that could have doomed Notre Dame's season in a sense of based off things that happened later. If you just think, oh, if we had 11 men on the field both those times, what would have happened?
Yeah,
like,
no, I agree.
And I
think it's a bigger deal simply because the game-winning play they ran to the spot where the defensive lineman that wasn't on the field should have been. So there would have been someone there.
That lost them the game.
Yeah, it did.
And maybe they get in with that guy in there. But then we're not having this conversation about how they lost the game for themselves.
Exactly. So, listen, I just don't think that loss is going to affect them in conference play. Oh, wait. Moving forward. The 2 points for this week. Tyler gets the points on that Ohio State game, by the way. I do not, because I stupidly picked Notre Dame. I wasn't stupidly. Good football team, just, personal bias. 2-point conversions. Tyler picked Maryland over Michigan State. Never in doubt. He gets
never in
there.
doubt.
I picked Kansas over BYU. Never in doubt. I get the 2 points there. Our score to date, Tyler has 21 points, and I have 28. Tyler, you have made it a one-score game again.
I'm coming.
Aplausos for you. Congrats. And with that, Tyler, because last week was weird, I'm going to give you the option. Do you want to go first on 2-point, or do you want to go first on picking the 5 games for 5 wide? And then we'll reset from there. We'll alternate.
I'll go first on picking the five wide games.
Okay.
I'll just keep the order. Let you go first on 2-point.
Sounds good. We kick things off. First 5 wide game is a Friday night game, Tyler. 9 p.m. Eastern on FS1. The number 10 ranked Utah Utes heading up to Corvallis to take on our Oregon State Beavers, who are ranked number 19 in the AP poll. Tyler, you get first pick. This game is tomorrow because this episode is going up once we finish recording and I edit. Who do you want, Utah or Oregon State? Who do you think will win this game?
This is actually a tough one. This is a really tough one because, well,
game's in Corvallis.
It's in Corvallis. Oregon State did not really have, in my opinion, a chance of winning. That game against Washington State kicked off was very clear. Washington State was dominating that game. They did score a lot of points. They are still very explosive on the ground. Didio Uyunglele is solid.
He looks back to like the DJ that we thought we would see when he was replacing Trevor.
The thing is that, and this is maybe the thing that's gonna suck for the Pac-12, because on a normal Pac-12 year, I think that this would be amazing for them. But it's like almost every team in this conference, other than the bad ones, they're good because they have a star quarterback.
Yeah. And
Oregon State is an amazing team that has a good quarterback, but I don't think is a star quarterback. Utah is one of the teams that currently does not have a star quarterback because it's still not clear if Cameron Rising is going to play.
Yeah, we don't know. It's like a week-to-week thing, and it's like we'll find out at game time, and we don't know.
I am going to, because I still love them, even though they are not number one on our love list right now. I still love them. I'm going to go with the Oregon State Beavers to win this one. It's specifically on the thought that if Cameron Rising were playing and we knew that would change my opinion. But the fact that they're still splitting reps, they're not sure if he's going to play. I'm going to go with the more consistent team. And these two teams match up in a very similar style, which I would give Oregon State the benefit of the doubt on offense there. So I'm going to go with Oregon State.
I get that. I'm going to go with Utah simply because for me, I have seen them perform without their quarterback now for so long that I just don't think it's that big of an issue. Now, I think they will get better when Cam Rising comes back. Yes, I do.
Oh,
but
that's for sure.
The fact that they're still a top 10 team without him everywhere else, and the coaching is on point, and they're playing really good football. I'm going to go with Utah. And also, we got to have some competition and fun here. So I'll go the opposite of you for this one, because this is a 55-45 feeling, it's either team could win kind of situation. So, all right, moving forward, Saturday noon kickoff on Fox, the big noon kickoff game. Number 8 ranked USC Trojans travel to Colorado to take on the Buffaloes. This is a 10 a.m. local time game, which is wild to me that a college football game is, anyway, whatever. Okay, I teased before that I had a take about this game, Tyler.
By the
I
way,
get to pick first.
I think it's 9 a.m. local time.
I thought they were Mountain Time.
Oh, maybe you're right.
I thought they were Mountain. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because they're,
You're right. They're Mountain Time. I'm wrong.
Older time zone. The Google works. Mountain Time. Yeah. 10. So perfect. So yes, 10 a.m. local time, 12 Eastern on Fox, Saturday. My take on this is that my USC take is that this game is going to be closer than people think. I think that in this game, we are going to get the Colorado hype machine a little bit back on the upward trajectory. Personally, I think it'll be a classic pro wrestling trope. The person who loses ends up looking better than the person who wins. That is a classic pro wrestling thing. So for that reason, I'm taking USC to win, but the narrative coming out of this game is going to be in favor of Colorado. It's going to be all right, let's look at the schedule. They did those 3 wins that they won. Congratulations. They got blown out to a better Oregon team. Fine. But then they held their own, learned from their mistakes, were able to at home, big noon kickoff is going to be there, all this stuff, going on and happening. So I have USC winning the football game, but because Alex Grinch is the defensive coordinator at USC, and Shadur Sanders is a really good player, I don't think we see Travis Hunter in this game again. Dion kind of shut that down earlier this week.
Yeah.
He's out probably for another couple as well. But I do think players step up. That number 3, the running back, I like that guy. I forget his name. My apologies. But I like him. I think they'll use him really well. And Alex Grinch's defense just showed that they can't really they're like consistently in prevent, and then they drive down the field and all of a sudden they score. You know what I mean? It's like a weird situation there. So there's enough talent on the skill positions on that Colorado team, and this is going to be the first real, let's see how Dion responds. No, I don't want to say Dion. Let's see how Dion's team responds after an embarrassing loss, because he didn't really have an embarrassing loss at Jackson State. He had losses. He didn't have embarrassing losses.
And also, I don't know if you saw the video that the Oregon football department put out. It got a lot of the Colorado players were talking mad crazy before the game.
The hit piece on Colorado, the receipts, this you that Oregon put out.
Whoa, that's gotta be humbling.
And Shiloh was talking that mad trash too. He was like, "We're gonna embarrass." He was going crazy, and then shout out to the Oregon video team for going from that clip, cutting out to a clip of Shiloh getting beat like that. Just chef's kiss.
You got to applaud it when you
got to watch it.
On that note, this is so you're picking USC. This is the type of game. We talked about it. I don't think Colorado could ever win that Oregon game because they don't match up with Oregon's defense.
They never had a chance. They never had a chance.
They have a real chance against USC, in my opinion. They have USC's main thing is their offense, but
they have a better chance, I think.
I think they have a real chance. It truly is the fact that Colorado, this game is going to be a shootout, and Colorado knows how to win shootouts. Yeah. They have defensive playmakers that make critical plays. They don't necessarily make the down by down consistent play. Like the Gator defense is down by down consistent mostly. Like it's hard to drive the field on them.
It's been so many years since I heard someone say the Gator defense was down by down consistent. This feels so good.
So far, it seems that way this season.
So far.
What I will say is that the Colorado defense is made of playmakers that have been able to make critical game-changing plays, but they're getting beat a lot. Like Shiloh Sanders is making critical interceptions. He also is getting beat. Like that's the trade-off. And so that lends itself to shootouts. And I think I'm going to go out on a limb because I'm behind. I'm going to go with Colorado. Okay.
Listen, this is not the.
They got the home field advantage. This is the type of game that they can win. And I think both quarterbacks will play excellently today.
I agree. This will be a fun quarterback game, and there are worse games for you to kind of go out, quote unquote, on a limb on. This I can see.
Everybody can
I don't
see
think
the
it
world
will.
where Colorado wins this game.
Yes. Yes.
And again, this thing, because I think the only way that this game can work is a shootout. USC's a couple weeks ago, I was been like, Colorado doesn't have a chance against USC. USC's defense has not proven to me anything that makes me believe that they can stop Colorado's offense consistently.
Right.
See, I mean, Colorado's
yeah. I'll tell you right now, I may have picked Colorado if Travis Hunter was playing, because he is their best wide receiver and their best cornerback, defensive back as well. So you lose your best player in two important position groups. That's tough to make up for. I still think it's competitive, and I don't know what the line is, but I would take the points, like whatever. If it's within a touchdown, within 10 points, give it to me. Give me the points. But I can see a world where this happens, Tyler. Completely agree. Moving forward, the site of College Game Day. It is in Austin, Texas, but it involves our Kansas Jayhawks, number 24 in the country. They head to Austin to take on the number 3 ranked Texas Longhorns. That is a 3:30 Eastern kick on ABC Saturday. Tyler, you get the first pick here. Who would you like?
Now, I love you, Kansas Jayhawks. I love you so much. You're so fun. And Texas has been last 2 weeks has been a little inconsistent. They looked good against Baylor. But I've gone out on a limb on the lower ranked team 2 straight times. I'm going to go with Texas. Things like normally, I think I'd go with Kansas, but Texas looks really good.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the talent thing. And I think this will be a very fun game. I think Kansas is going to have a great season, I'll take the L on this if they win. I'll be so happy to. But
yeah.
What about you, Serge?
I'm going to go with Kansas because they're playing good football. And to me, yes, Texas is a good football team and the best team in the conference, in my opinion. But I have a 7-point lead on you. And I think that with that cushion, I'm more comfortable taking those. You know what? I think Texas, if we're doing the 100% breakdown, 60-40 Texas, 65-35 Texas. But I have enough in the bank where I can kind of gamble a little bit and take Kansas.
Oh, yeah.
I think it'd be more competitive. It'd be more fun.
Kansas is a solid, complete, good football team. As is Texas. Texas is more talented, obviously, but in the style that they play, 2 great quarterbacks. And let's be honest, Quinn Ewers is the less consistent of those 2 quarterbacks.
Yeah, agreed.
I think the more high-end talented, but I think Jalen Daniels is very consistent with how good he is. And
in a perfect world, Kansas wins this game and Jalen Daniels begins to be involved in the Heisman conversation. I'm not saying he jumps up as a favorite. I'm saying that, oh, hey, look, Jalen Daniels is in there. If we can talk about Shedeur Sanders for the Heisman, we can talk about Jalen Daniels.
I agree.
That's my mentality. So
people don't want to believe.
Nope, they don't want to believe. Our Jayhawks. Next up, number 13, LSU heads to Oxford to take on the number 20 ranked Ole Miss. Saturday, 6 p.m. Eastern kickoff on ESPN. Tyler, I get the first pick on this one. I'm not overthinking this. We just saw Ole Miss kind of, not do what we thought they would. I'll take LSU. I think they're a better roster. I think they have the better quarterback. I think they have the better coach. I just think it's going to be an LSU day. It's on the road. It'll be a difficult game. Not going to lie. It's going to be a close one. It's going to be a fun one to watch, but I'll take LSU.
I'm going to take LSU as well. I think they're just better than Ole Miss right now. And I don't think LSU hasn't looked as consistent, but I still think they've looked good.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
Let's go with LSU.
We're there. And then the final game in 5 wide, number 11th ranked Notre Dame heads over to the number 17 ranked Duke Blue Devils. They take them on in Durham Saturday, 7:30 Eastern on ABC. Fowler and Herbie. It's going to be a fun one. No, I think this is game day. I think I said game day was in Austin. I think this is game day. This is game day for sure. Tyler, you get the first pick on this one. Who you want?
Oh, gosh, this is tough. Duke looked so good. And I really love them, and I hope that they're really contender against FSU in the Atlantic. But
there's no more divisions this year, my friend.
That's a good point.
Not in the ACC, it's top 2. That's why Clemson is kind of, done for the most part because they don't have the tiebreakers over FSU and Duke, and it's top 2 win percentages. So
They don't even play Miami, I think, right?
They don't play Miami, no. So they don't
So
even have the opportunity to get the.
get a
I don't think
tiebreaker
they
over
do.
them.
While you talk about that, I'll look that up.
Yeah. So, however, I will say Duke can afford to take this loss and still win the conference. So I'm going to go with Notre Dame because I think both these teams are very similar. They've got good quarterbacks, good defenses, all that. So I love what both their coaches are doing. I think Notre Dame it's a tough one, but I think Notre Dame etches it out.
Yeah. Clemson does play Miami, but it is at Hard Rock Stadium. So the Dolphins are being nice enough to let Miami use their stadium to do that. So just to clarify that. So maybe they do have an opportunity to get that tiebreaker. But listen, 2 conference losses already, and we're in September. Not looking good. I'm going to go with Duke. I'm going to make it fun.
Wow, we have disagreed a lot today. Oof.
Well, let me put it this way.
I love it.
My reasoning, my justification for the Duke pick is Clemson lost the game against Duke because Duke played solid defense and Clemson made mistakes. They kind of shot themselves in the foot a few times, and Duke took advantage of it. After what we've seen from Marcus Freeman this season and the debacle from the end of the Ohio State game, there's nothing that makes me think that Notre Dame won't shoot themselves in the foot at least once or twice in this game, whether it be a pick, whether it be a red zone fumble, whatever it may be. And Duke has already shown me that against high-level talent, because think what you want about Clemson and the offense, and we have our thoughts. You can't deny that they still have talent on that roster.
They got a lot of talent.
A lot of talent on that roster, especially in the trenches. So I don't see I don't understand why Duke can't do that again. They've already done it at home in a big-time primetime game where they're the only game on TV. So big-time primetime game, Saturday night. Could they take advantage of those potential Notre Dame mistakes? I think they can. So I have enough in the bank where I can gamble on that, so I'll do that. Alrighty, 5 wide recap real quick. Number 10, Utah takes on number 19, Oregon State, Friday, 9 o'clock Eastern on FS1. I have Utah. Tyler has Oregon State. The number 8 ranked USC Trojans head to Boulder to take on Colorado. That's Saturday, noon kickoff Eastern on Fox. I have USC. Tyler has Colorado. Number 24 ranked Kansas Jayhawks. Let me rephrase that. Our Kansas Jayhawks travel to Austin, Texas, take on the number 3 ranked Wolverines. Wolverines. Longhorns. Jeez, man, my brain today. That's a Saturday, 3:30 Eastern kickoff on ABC. I have Kansas. Tyler has Texas. Number 13 ranked LSU takes on number 20 ranked Ole Miss in Oxford. That is a Saturday, 6 p.m. Eastern kickoff on ESPN. Tyler and I both have the LSU Tigers. And number 11, Notre Dame heads to Durham to take on number 17, Duke. Saturday night, 7:30 Eastern, ABC. Tyler has Notre Dame. I have Duke. And for our 2 points, Tyler, there are some fun games this week.
There's some good ones.
There are some really fun games this week. I'm going to go ahead and keep it local. I'm going to go ahead and keep it inside of my relationship. UCF has their first ever home Big 12 game. They take on Baylor. It is a 3:30 Eastern kick on FS1. I wanted to go to this game. My friends and I were kind of tentatively planning to go to this game. But it turns out when your friend's wife is expecting to give birth to a baby within 2 weeks, you kind of can't go out of town, I guess. So I've been told. So we've decided to shelf it.
Seems fake to me.
I don't know how that works. So we've decided to shelf this UCF home game trip one more year. I was supposed to go last year to a UCF game. Hurricane canceled it. We're supposed to go this year. Baby stuff, which is fine, understandable. No one's complaining about that. I'll complain about the hurricane. I won't complain about the baby. And I can't wait to meet baby Austin. Next year, we're probably going to take the UCF trip. We'll probably take 2 trips because UCF plays the Gators in the swamp. So we might go to the swamp for one game and then the bounce house for another. So still gotta figure out how I can convince Alexa to go to Gainesville. But it'll happen. I'll make it happen, Tyler. Don't worry. Maybe you want to meet us out in Gainesville,
yeah,
Tyler.
See, you're trying to convince her to go to Gainesville. My girlfriend wants to go to Gainesville.
Why? We can. Hey, listen. That could be the one. That could be the one.
I like that. I like this.
It'll
idea.
be great. It'll be great. Alexa doesn't get emotional during sporting events, except for UCF football. And she doesn't really get that emotional with UCF football. She gets emotional with UCF football the couple times that we have seen Florida and UCF play throughout the time of our relationship. She really wants to win that game.
Yeah.
Can you tell my girlfriend's a bit competitive? Can you tell? So I'm going to take UCF over Baylor in that game. First home Big 12 game. Baylor's not looking that good. Dave Aranda, seat's a little warm, maybe, could be, possibly. We don't know. Definitely not a good year. I don't think he gets fired this year, but it's not looking good in that sense. So hopefully John Rice Plumlee is back and ready to play, because if he is, I'm much more comfortable about that. But if not, we'll see if Timmy can get it done. I think they'll be able to do it. UCF needs this. They should have won last week against Kansas State. They blew the game. Like, they really did. Shot themselves in the foot. It was a Gus game. It was a Gus game. But I can't even categorize it as a Gus game, Tyler, because like the backup quarterback just like what Timmy was not playing well. Like a Gus game is like, oh, we got this, and then just collapse. Like it wasn't that. It was, oh, can the quarterback hold up with compare whatever. So I'm taking UCF over Baylor. That, like I said, is a 3:30 Eastern kickoff on FS1. Tyler, what is your 2 point for this?
Excellent pick, by the way. It's one of the ones that I was considering. I'm going to go stay in the conference of the Southeast that we call home. I'm going to go with South Carolina over Tennessee.
Oh, that's a fun one. Not because we're Gator fans and, you know, Tennessee's a rival, but like just in general, I like that.
Yeah, South Carolina has been pretty good on offense this year. They've struggled in some games, but they're putting it together. They've had a tough thing. They played UNC and Georgia really early, so they got 2 losses in their schedules. Mm-hmm. But they looked good against Mississippi State. They've looked good so far. I don't know. I like Shane Beamer. I like his game plan. Again, this is one of those situations where Tennessee, I think, will beat up on the little guys, and they didn't match up well against the Gators in the Swamp. I think they match up better against South Carolina, but South Carolina's got like real players, got a good defense. Mm-hmm. And I think South Carolina's got a balanced offense. I think they've got a better quarterback, which pains me to say as a Spencer Rattler hater. I'm just leading into it now.
I know.
As a renowned hater of Spencer Rattler.
He's going to get drafted to the Jags as your backup, and you're going to have to deal with
it. Stop. South Carolina's winning. Moving on.
I think the Florida game, and we can use this to transition to Florida Corner, because I think the Florida game against Tennessee really gave everyone else
the bluept
how to do it.
We have a great architecture school, by the way.
We do, and Beamer is a really good coach, really smart. He'll be able to kind of break it down and implement that stuff. So I like that.
And South Carolina does this. It's weird. They always have like one upset a year. They're that kind of team that just and
they need to use it against Tennessee, because I think we have.
I don't want to use it against us.
Nope. I'm good. Although I wouldn't call it an upset. I just think it'd be just a close SEC game. You know, it's just whatever. Yeah. Anyway, Florida Corner last week, Tyler. Florida 22, Charlotte 7. Listen, my opinion, a win is a win. It wasn't ugly. I mean, it wasn't pretty. It was ugly at times. We haven't played a complete game this season. Even in that Tennessee win, the second half, we struggled a little bit and played with our food, in my opinion. Offensively, defensively, I think we've been very consistent and very, very good. Not worried there. That leads me into this week for the Kentucky game. Number 22 ranked Florida Gators head to the grocery store, Kroger Field in Lexington, take on the Kentucky Wildcats. Saturday, 12 noon Eastern kickoff on ESPN. 11 a.m. local time. Okay. I think that what Kentucky has shown us this season is that Kentucky can get got very easily. I made a joke earlier this episode where I was watching the Vanderbilt game and I got licking my lips because Vanderbilt was moving the ball on them very easily. And in my opinion, I think Kentucky has a pretty decent defensive line, but I think the Florida offensive line is better. And listen, Montrell Johnson, I like him a lot. I think he's a fantastic change of pace back. I think he's great in the red zone. I think he's physical. I think he can bustle down people. And I think that he has a really good relationship with Napier because he transferred over with him from Louisiana. And I like that Napier is kind of giving him the opportunity and showing that he is an SEC caliber running back. But you got Trevor Etienne right there, my dude. You have like a dynamic running back who can run really well. His vision is incredible, can catch the football out of the backfield, can do it all, is a really good well-rounded running back.
Montrell Johnson is an A back. And Trevor Etienne is an A+ back.
Exactly. Like,
it's great that you have two, but you should flip the order in which you use them.
I agree. Now, in my opinion, when it came down to it against Tennessee in our big game, right, in our first real big game of the season, Utah outstanding because that was, whatever. We were down most of the game. We had to throw all that
Couldn't
stuff.
even run in that game. So
when we played the way that we wanted to play and we're in control in a big game, Billy went to ETN. So I think this was a case of let's give Montrell some touches against Charlotte. Let's kind of get him going a bit. Let's not get Trevor. Let's not get Trevor hurt. You know what I mean? Let's keep him healthy. Let's go into the SEC season. But listen, we're in the SEC schedule now. There's no like, all right, we got to take this
every game is must win. Every game,
Vanderbilt, everyone, you got to play the dude. If we're up by 45 points at halftime, fine, okay, but play the guy. We got to run him. Got to develop. And personally, I'd like to issue Graham Mertz an apology because I do. I would like to issue an apology because while he wasn't my first, second, or third choice in the transfer portal, given what Billy Napier is running this season, and I think Napier did it smartly because I think he knew that the roster isn't exactly, it's better, definitely better, and it's deeper, but the roster is not where he wants it to be to really run his true complete offense. And I think he said, you know what, this guy I'm going to run Wisconsin light down here, Wisconsin South this season. Let me go get the guy who ran that offense really well. I think Mertz is making the right throws when he needs to. I think he's making the right decisions. Clearly, those guys are behind him in a leadership position. My apologies to Graham Mertz. He's not going to win the Heisman. He's not going to give you 400 passing yards. He's not even going to look as fun as Anthony Richardson last year. But you know what? He's going to get the job done. He's going to make the right decisions on there, and he's going to lead the team. And I think that is something that I didn't expect going into the season, and I'm pleasantly surprised that is an outcome that's happening here. So just wanted to issue that.
That's largely my feelings as well. Graham Mertz has really impressed me. The team has not played a complete game. I think that playing at noon at Kentucky is actually very helpful for this team. Because I was talking to my dad about it. It's just like, we struggle against Kentucky. And it's like, we're Kentucky's Super Bowl, which they beat us 2 straight years. So, but every year Kentucky beats up on a lot of lower level teams and I wouldn't call Vanderbilt that, but they look little suspect parts of the Vanderbilt game just to get to Florida, to throw everything they have at Florida. It's worked a lot the last 2 years, but night games are a big part of that. And at noon, energy won't be as high. I think that benefits the Gators. Devin O'Leary, good quarterback. The Gators defense, I think, is better than the Kentucky offense. So there's a win there. And I think the big thing to me is that Florida has to not get in their own way, which is not something that Florida has done consistently. I mean, I'm just traumatized by my other team that can't stop getting in its own way. But
I think they learned a lot from the Utah game.
I think so too. And Billy Napier spoke of that it was afterwards, it was some of the best prep he's seen afterwards. That people took responsibility. There was no pointing fingers. And the team has responded since. This is a big test for them. And I just want balance on offense, and I want the defense to continue to travel. This thing, I want this is the first road game since Utah. And this is a big deal. Last year, the Gators were really good on the road. Weirdly, they were really on the road. They actually struggled in the swamp, and that does not seem to be the case this year. So let's see if they can keep their road strengths. I don't know. I'm nervous because nowadays I'm always nervous against Kentucky,
that's the thing. Napier needs this win so that the Florida fan base cannot be nervous against Kentucky anymore, because that's something that the Florida fan base hasn't been for 35, 40 years. You know, I think one of the biggest indicators of correcting the culture of the program and reestablishing and fixing all the things that were messed up when Napier got here is beating Kentucky. All right. Last year, I get it. Last year, you were first year coach, didn't have the thing, whatever. This is the year you go on the road, reestablish yourself as Kentucky's big brother, which is what Florida should be. And you, along with the win against Tennessee, along with at that point starting 4-1, want to emphasize that if we win this game, the Gators are 4-1, and with a potential, I say this, I've been saying this on Gators Wire when they've been asking me to write some takes about games. The Gators have the potential to start the season 6-1 going into the Georgia game out of the bye week. So that is a potential. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but it's a potential. All right. Win this game on the road against Kentucky, a team that you psychologically should be better than, and the fan base will repay you and buy in and all that stuff. And I think it is a good indicator of the trajectory of the program. That's my take. Tyler, before we get out of here, you want a little Jags therapy session?
I mostly actually processed it. I got to be honest with you. Okay. I've been thinking about it because I was down bad. I'm not gonna lie. But then,
listeners, Tyler was down exponential.
I was bad. I was down bad.
The texts I got from this man it was sad. It was sad.
But
I was trying not to talk about the Dolphins because I didn't want to rub victory in your face.
Yeah, and then you said I could spot you 30 points. We still would have won by 20.
By 20.
And I was just like, that's not helping.
Sorry, I had to do one.
No, what's so frustrating? The source of the frustration is actually why I'm not too freaked out. The source of the frustration with the Jaguars is that in these last 2 games, the entire reason they have not won the games, in my opinion, is that they keep getting their own way. Drops, huge part of the offense. Trevor Lawrence stepping on Etienne's toe accidentally on a big 3rd down conversion, so he doesn't get to the line. Things like that, and I will say there's a genuine concern. There's no pass rush on defense, and that's I don't know what you can do about that. But the offense is Trevor Lawrence has played well, in my opinion. The Chiefs game was tough. The Chiefs actually have a really good defense this year. But this last week, he played well, and it was rewarded with drops. He was rewarded with the defense not holding up. So it is the thing is if the Jaguars can get out of their own way, which is something that I think they can fix. It's very easy. The pass rush, I don't think is a thing that you can fix at this point in the season. Mm-hmm. But they can fix getting out of their own way.
You don't think you can fix the pass rush? We're only 3 games in.
Well, they're playing the players
Oh, I see what you mean. You think it's a personnel issue, not a?
I think it's not an effort issue. It's a personnel issue. It's their players don't win the way that they need them to. It's not like there's a guy that they're hiding, and he's not they're playing who they've got, and who they've got is not giving them enough. I love the linebackers. I love the secondary. I love the offense. It just needs to stop making mistakes, and it's making drops. Drops give me health issues, in my opinion. At the professional level, if I see a professional wide receiver being paid millions of dollars, put 2 hands on a ball and drop it, I get incensed. So that's just me. But yeah, I'm okay with it now. It's tough though. We got 2 tough games coming up in London. Jags typically play well in London, but Falcons is very winnable. The Bills will be tough. I think we match up relatively well with them, but I don't want to start the season 1-5.
Well, I'll let you know about the Bills after this weekend because that's who we have on Sunday. Thankfully, the game's in Buffalo, and it's going to be on October 1st and not, December 30th or whatever. So, we can avoid that part of it. We already have 4 weeks into the year, we will have already gotten out of the way the Patriots and Bills road game, which is fantastic. We already beat the Pats on the road Sunday Night Football. I think the Dolphins win this game. It's clear. It's hands down the best football game, NFL game of the weekend, with some competition for tonight's Thursday night game, which will be fun between the Lions and who they play, the Browns?
I don't recall.
I'm play the Browns. I don't know, but I know the Lions are playing, and I know it's going to be a good game. So it'll be fun. Oh, they're playing the Packers in a conference game, in a division game. But,
nice. That'll be fun.
That'll be a good game. But the Dolphins-Bills game to me is the best game of the week. It's not every week you drop 70 on a team. I think that was a combination of the Dolphins being the best offense in the league, and also
whatever the Broncos have going on.
The Broncos are the Broncos, whatever's going on in Denver. It's funny. I was watching some pro wrestling this morning while I was kind of getting ready, everything, and AEW Dynamite was in Denver, or right outside of Denver or whatever. And they have a pay-per-view this Sunday in Seattle. And one of the wrestlers, Swerve Strickland, is from Seattle, and he's playing the bad guy. And the main event of the episode was a contract signing, right? So they had a promo battle. They're going back and forth. And at one point, he's going up against this guy named Adam Page. And Adam Page is a fan favorite, lifeblood of the company when the company started 3-4 years ago. So whatever. Adam Page talking, whatever. He goes, you know what? And Swerve starts talking to him. And he goes, you know what, Page? You are just as useless as Russell Wilson on Sunday. and the crowd boos him, everything. He goes, and I would know something about that because I'm from Seattle, and I know I'm so glad we got him the hell out of that place and gave him to you people in this dump of Denver. And the crowd hated him. And that to me was just like an indicator of like, oh yeah, no. He like his idea of like taking the sports team and making fun of them is a classic like heel tactic. But the easy low hanging fruit was the Broncos defense. And they were so bad that he was like, you know what? I'm not even going to make fun of them. I got to go a different route because they had 70.
They're sitting on the edge right there. You need to like, be like, oh,
I might not get out of here alive if I make a Broncos defense joke. Like I can't. That's how bad the Broncos.
70 points, man. 70 points.
70 points.
Tua's playing better than anyone in the league right now. So, I know you're happy about that.
He's making throws. Tua's doing. I'm not saying he's on the level of these quarterbacks, but he is doing things that I have seen people like Peyton Manning, Joe Montana do.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying he is that level yet, obviously, yet, because I have an agenda and it will be pushed. But he's showing flashes of those things, and like the numbers back it up. The numbers back him up when like Tyreek's off the field. We did 70 without Waddle. Like the run game is playing great. I heard on the Bill Simmons podcast, Michael Lombardi was talking about how the Dolphins' offensive line is not good. It's like they're doing this quick stuff because the line isn't good and gimmicky. And I'm like, my brother in Christ, the offensive line improving from last year to this year is the reason that they're able to go full go mode on everyone. Like, I don't know. I think I'm watching a different game than some people, but listen.
Yeah, well,
Bills on Sunday.
I'm officially jealous. I'm officially jealous.
Bills on
your
Sunday.
team. I still think my team can turn it around. But
I think so too. And you're in the AFC South, which is not a strong division. So as long as you kind of work your stuff out, you can still win the division. You can still get a playoff game.
Well,
and we saw last year, anything can happen.
Well, I mean, we started 2-6 last year,
so
and maybe it's the thing. Maybe the Jaguars team and Trevor Lawrence is just a slow starter. Like that's just what they are as a career. Like the Bengals are the same way. Like that seems to not matter to Joe Burrow. Although this year I think he's actually injured. So
I think he is. But we can't talk about the Bengals being as one of the favorites because what if Joe Burrow gets hurt, right? Because that's the conversation with the Dolphins, right? You can't buy into them because what if Tua gets hurt? If I was someone that was petty, I would say that Joe Burrow and Tua have missed the same amount of games in their career, and Tua actually, has a better record in those games where they haven't missed. But I won't say that because I'm not petty. So I'm not. That's good to know.
That's good to know. I appreciate that.
I got respect. Why would I go for 73 when I've already scored 70? I got respect.
Yeah. Well, shout out to the Houston Texans, which I hate saying, but I mean, CJ Stroud. To me, I really liked. I was upset because I really liked the DeMeco Ryans head coaching hire, and I was like, "Damn it!" CJ, they're giving him. CJ Stroud always was. If you get him in rhythm, he's good. The problem is just like you have to get him in rhythm.
Yes.
So he doesn't do well with pressure, and they got him in rhythm, and he looked good all day.
Yeah.
And like again, it's so weird because I watched the game, and Trevor Lawrence actually looked good in our game, and we just still lost. And that happens, and I'm just hoping that I literally saw a Twitter graphic today that was just like, should the Jaguars consider trading up? And it was Caleb Williams in a Jaguars jersey edit, and I was just like, this person needs to be committed.
That is a 14-year-old that doesn't watch the game completely.
This man has a humiliation fetish, and I'm not feeding into it.
Literally, like, calm down, dude. All right. Well, I was going to try to make a humiliation fetish outro joke, but I won't do that because I couldn't think of one up. All that to be said, Tyler. Anything else you want to say before we sign off?
No. I can't believe that we're I think a quarter of the way through the season. That's insane.
Yes,
I love it. It's been a fun season.
A third. We're a third of the way through the season, Tyler. Regular season.
Yeah. It's been a fun season so far, full of surprises. I said it earlier that I was like, I don't know if the SC has an elite team. I'm enjoying that personally. Like,
Me too.
Like I'm enjoying the Pac-12 having a stock of really good teams with good quarterbacks. I'm enjoying the mix up in the ACC. The Big Ten is the Big Ten. That hasn't changed. But the Big 12 is fun though. With the last year of Oklahoma and Texas in the conference, they both look good. And there's a lot of it's a fun year.
Yeah,
I'm really enjoying it.
We'll talk about the last.
Hey, buddy, I'm coming.
Coming. Okay, 7 points. We'll see how that goes.
Expect me.
Listen. Expect Tua. That's what you should expect. Listen, next week we'll talk about the final Big 12 version of Red River before it goes over to the SEC. And hey, listen, the fact that there's no elite SEC team, that might be a good thing for our beloved Florida Gators. If they can establish themselves this year, continue recruiting at the high level they have been, next year it may be a little open for a brand new juggernaut in that conference. So not saying, I'm just saying. But what I am saying, Tyler, is that this is another episode of Sideline Judgment. My name is Sergio.
My name is Tyler.
And we are not biased, Tyler, but go Gators.
Go Gators.
Fins up, baby.